A beautiful afternoon to you and welcome to TV Sapienza News Hour. On the news is Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. President Bola Tinubu calls on state governors to prioritize the welfare of Nigerians by investing more in rural electrification, agricultural mechanization, poverty eradication, and infrastructure. The president's call followed a presentation of the renewed Hope World Development Program by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, at the 150th meeting of the National Economic Council held at the State House Council Chambers, Abuja. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwacha, Tinubu asked the governors to change the story of our people in the rural areas. He also urged the state governors to collaborate with federal government to drive economic development in rural areas across the country, embrace mechanization in agriculture, fight insecurity, and improve school enrollment through school feeding. Tinubu further ordered the transfer of the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation to the presidency to enhance the seamless actualization of his administration's legacy projects across the country. Police operatives in Anambra State Command have arrested 24-year-old Somto Chukwuafo over the murder of a pregnant nurse. The police public relations officer for the command, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, who revealed this in a press statement, said the arrest is in connection with the gruesome murder of a pregnant nurse whose mutilated body was recently discovered in a sockaway pit at Obunike in Oyi local government area of Anambra State. During interrogation, SP Kenga said the suspect confessed to being the girlfriend of the prime suspect, Chemere Obika Elobisi, from the same village. She stated that she was called by the suspect to clean the bloodstains after the victim was murdered, revealing how they sell the body parts of different evil native doctors in the area. Meanwhile, it was discovered that the victim, a trained nurse, was lured by the murderer to his house under the guise of seeking medication. The police spokesperson also disclosed that with the information from the suspect, operatives of the State Criminal Investigation Department busted a shrine of an identified native doctor, Nwafo Chibunna of Nwatadile from Itima village, Obunike, and recovered suspected human body parts concealed in a cellophane bag. He, however, said that the command has launched a manhunt for the prime suspect, along with the suspected receivers and collaborators. Reacting to this, the Anambra State Commissioner of Police, Ikoye Rutugu, strongly condemned the heinous act, encouraging anyone with useful information to assist the police in the ongoing investigation as their identity would be adequately protected. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has provided learning materials to children of victims of Yawata attack for their education support in Benue State. UNICEF had earlier established a space learning center for children of Yawata displaced persons at the temporary camp located at the international market in Makurdi, and teachers were reportedly deployed by the state government to teach the school children, numbering over 1,500. The UNICEF Chief of Field, Juliet Chinwe, who donated learning materials such as school bags, exercise books, and sportswears, to the school children, promised that the organization would continue to support the children even when they return to their community. Chinwe called on State Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the State Universal Basic Education Board to further support the children and ensure they do not grow up as a wayward generation. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Knowledge Management, Helen Nambati, appreciated UNICEF for its support to the displaced children. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianco Odumegwu Ojukwu, has appealed for calm following calls by some Ghanaians for the deportation of Nigerians from the country. In a statement on Thursday by her Special Assistant on Communication and New Media, Magnus Eze, said she made the appeal during a joint press conference with Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Ablakwa, in Accra on Wednesday. She said the viral videos depicting protests and raised concerns in Nigeria, prompting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to dispatch her as a special envoy to assess the situation firsthand. Odumegwu Ojukwu expressed her joy that things are rather calm now, attributing the calmness to the Ghanaian government's intervention. She reiterated the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Ghana, cautioning against the spread of inciting content that could escalate tensions between citizens of both countries. She disclosed that her delegation had met with Ghanaian officials, community leaders and individuals involved in the situation to ease tensions, calling for institutionalization of the Nigerian-Ghana Joint Commission to promote stronger bilateral relations and citizen-to-citizens engagements. In his remarks, Ghanaian Foreign Affairs Minister Blakwa said the government is engaging both Ghanaian citizens and the Nigerian community to address concerns and maintain peace. The Customs Controller General Bashir Adewale has read the Riot Act to smugglers in Adamawa State and the entire country, warning that the service will no longer tolerate any attack or attempt to attack officers and men on and off duty. Speaking in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, yesterday during a press conference over the recent attack that led to the serious injury of one of the officers of Operation Whirlwind, the Controller General warned that his administration will be forced to take severe and drastic actions against any group that attempts to disrupt his men from their operations. Adewale, who was represented by Deputy Controller General of Finance and Administration, Kehinde Ajibunu, said the attack took place last week Wednesday in Mujara, Mubi, South Local Government Area of Adamawa State. According to him, what began as resistance to lawful enforcement escalated into a brutal attack where officers were physically assaulted with sticks, stones and daggers, and threatening to set both vehicles and officers ablaze. The deputy noted that violent aggression against law enforcement personnel is a clear attempt to undermine the authority of the Nigerian Customs Service and destabilize the ongoing efforts to protect Nigerian borders. The Customs Board disclosed that petroleum products worth over 95 million naira duty-paid value was seized from smugglers within a period of 6 weeks in Adamawa and Taraba State Command. Ejibunu ordered that the seized petroleum products should be sold to members of the public as 10,000 naira per jerry can of 25 liters. Katsina State Friends Association has called for volunteers across the state's 34 local government areas to provide basic first aid and humanitarian support to patients as the ongoing strike by nurses and midwives continue to cripple operations in public hospitals. The chairman of the association, Bila Sanda, who made the call, says it is necessary for members to assist hospitals with basic care in the face of personnel shortages. The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Federal Health Institution sector had on Wednesday commenced a nationwide 7-day warning strike. Sanda went ahead to say that the association had already mobilized volunteer members from groups including Jama'atu Nasri Islam, Jama'atu Izalati Bida, Nigerian Red Cross Society, among others, to various hospitals. Disclosing this in a statement issued on Thursday by the association's public relations officer Hamisu Adamu, Sanda noted that these groups have commenced support activities at the general hospitals, Katsina, and are also participating in similar efforts across other hospitals in the state. While expressing hope that the ongoing industrial action will be resolved soon, Sanda acknowledged the crucial role nurses and midwives play in the healthcare system. Also speaking, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives Chairman in Katsina, Nura Muazu, said a monitoring task force had been deployed to ensure full compliance with the strike across the state. He called on the federal government to urgently intervene, saying the federal government needs to address the issue with the seriousness it deserves to stop the nurses from going into a full-blown strike after the warning strike. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Thursday said it is still recovering funds linked to the collapsed CBEX Global Investment Scheme. Recall that CBEX, a Ponzi scheme, collapsed in April this year, leaving many investors stranded. And following the crash, some of the scheme's promoters were arrested and arraigned in court by the EFCC. On July 7, Aweruso Otorudo and Chukwuebuka Ehirim were arraigned before Justice Muhammad Omar on allegations bordering on illegal financial operations and unlicensed investment activities. They were alleged to have collected public funds and promised up to 88% returns on investment without regulatory approval. Speaking, EFCC's head of media and publicity, Dele Oyewale, said recovery efforts were ongoing, but did not state the amount recovered so far, noting it will be premature to give specific figures at this time. He assured that when the Commission is ready to make full disclosure of what it has recovered, it will let the public know. The National Economic Council has called for the strengthening of state emergency management agencies across the 36 states of the Federation. These are more news to make a return after the break. Stay with us on TV Sapienta News Hour. The National Economic Council has called for the strengthening of state emergency management agencies across the 36 states of the Federation and urged the Federal Ministry of Finance to release emergency funds to address impending flood effects. This was contained in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, on Thursday. The Council's resolution came following a presentation by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umaru, on the country's 2025 flood preparedness and response initiatives during the Council's meeting. According to the statement, local government areas and communities are specifically directed to take ownership of the local risk mitigation efforts, engage actively in awareness campaigns, and report early signs of flood risk to appropriate authorities. NEC therefore urged state government to fully strengthen SEMAs, operationalize local emergency management committees, enforce physical planning laws and building code compliance, and institutionalize monthly environmental sanitation while prioritizing disaster preparedness funding in annual budgets. On the international news today, at least 6 soldiers have been killed in a deadly firefight that broke out along the Ugandan-South Sudan border, Uganda's military said. This clash, which occurred in Uganda's remote West Nile region, was reportedly sparked when South Sudanese forces crossed into Ugandan territory and refused to withdraw. Uganda's army spokesperson Major General Felix Kulaigye said about 3 South Sudanese troops were killed in retaliation after a Ugandan soldier died in the incursion. Both countries' militaries have agreed to a ceasefire and promised an investigation into the incident. The two neighbors have long disputed stretches of their shared borders, despite a joint demarcation committee working towards a 2027 resolution. While minor clashes have occurred in the past, such deadly confrontations between the two allied forces remains rare. Israel's National Security Council has intensified its travel advice for citizens in the United Arab Emirates, warning of increased stress from the hostile groups, aiming to target Israelis and Jews in the region. In a statement released by the Prime Minister's office on Thursday, the council cited credible intelligence suggesting that terror organizations, including Iran-backed groups Hamas, Hezbollah, and global jihadist elements, are escalating their efforts to attack Israeli interests abroad. It's noted that Jewish holidays and Shabbat may be particular periods for elevated risk. The advisory did not specify a particular incident, but followed heightened tensions in the Middle East after Israel's recent military operations involving Iran. The United Arab Emirates, which normalized ties with Israel in 2020 through the U.S.-brokered Abraham Accords, has seen a growing presence of Israeli and Jewish communities. The visibility, the Security Council warns, may also now bring a greater risk. There has been no response from the United Arab Emirates Foreign Ministry regarding the updated travel advisory. Meanwhile, the Gulf state has maintained a reputation as one of the safest destinations in the Middle East, with violent crimes remaining rare. Now to sports, where the Super Eagles forward Victor Osimhen has completed his permanent switch to Turkish giant Galatasaray in a deal worth 75 million euros. Galatasaray announced the signing of the Nigerian, who spent last season on loan from Napoli, on Thursday. The 26-year-old signed a 4-year deal with the Turkish champions and will be paid 15 million euros per season. Osimhen will also get an extra 1 million euros loyalty bonus and another 5 million euros for image rights. The club further said that under the terms of the agreement, 10% of the profits from the player's next sale will be made to Napoli. The latest contract also restricts him from joining Serie A clubs in the next 2 years. Thursday's announcement ends a 2-year transfer saga between him and Napoli, a fractured relationship that saw him frozen out of the team at the start of the last campaign. Still on sports, West Ham midfielder Lucas Paqueta has been cleared of sports fixing charges by an independent regulatory commission, the club announced on Thursday. The Brazilian international was charged with 4 alleged breaches of Football Association rules in relation to matches involving the Premier League side. It was alleged that the 27-year-old directly sought to influence matches by intentionally seeking to receive a card from the referee for the improper purpose of affecting the betting market. He, however, denied the charges, and the Independent Regulatory Commission found the charges not proven following a hearing. The Football Association said 2 charges against Paqueta related to a failure to cooperate with its investigation had been found proven. It said the commission would decide on an appropriate sanction for those proven breaches at the earliest opportunity. The Brazilian said in a statement issued by West Ham that he had always maintained his innocence against these extremely serious accusations. And this is where we wrap it up on the news. That was the news at 1. On behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojo Bamidele, saying thank you for choosing TV Sapiencia. Do have a beautiful afternoon.